Chapter 8, Part 2, Step 9. Be enthusiastic. Nothing great is ever achieved without enthusiasm. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Enthusiasm and success go hand in hand, but enthusiasm comes first. Enthusiasm inspires confidence, raises morale, builds loyalty, and is priceless. Enthusiasm is contagious. You can feel enthusiasm by the way a person talks, walks, or shakes hands. Enthusiasm is a habit that one can acquire and practice. Many decades ago, Charles Schwab, who was earning a salary of $1 million a year, was asked if he was being paid such a high salary because of his exceptional ability to produce steel. Charles Schwab replied, I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among the men the greatest asset I possess, and the way to develop the best that is in a man is by appreciation and encouragement. Live while you are alive, don't die before you are dead. Enthusiasm and desire are what change mediocrity to excellence. What turns into steam with a difference of only 1 degree in temperature and steam can move some of the biggest engines in the world. That is what enthusiasm helps you to do in your life. Step 10. Give honest and sincere appreciation. The psychologist William James said, one of the deepest desires of human beings is the desire to be appreciated. The feeling of being unwanted is hurtful. Expensive jewels are not real gifts. They are apologies for shortcomings. Many times we buy gifts for people to compensate for not spending enough time with them. Real gifts are when you give a part of yourself. Sincere appreciation is one of the greatest gifts one can give to another person. It makes a person feel important. The desire to feel important is one of the greatest carving in most human beings. It can be a great motivator. The biggest disease today is not leprosy or tuberculosis, but rather the feeling of being unwanted. Mother Teresa. In order to effective appreciation must meet certain criteria. Number 1, it must be specific. If I tell someone that he did a good job and walk away, what will go through his mind? He will think, what did I do good? He will be confused, but when I say the way you handled the difficult customer was great, then he knows what he is being appreciated for. Number 2, it must be immediate. The effectiveness is diluted if we show our appreciation for someone 6 months after it has done something commendable. Number 3, it must be sincere. It must come from the heart. You must mean every word. It's better not to appreciate if you don't mean it because insincerity comes through. Number 4, don't qualify praise with a but. By using the but as a connector, we erase the appreciation. Use and in addition to that or some other appropriate connector. Instead of saying I appreciate your effort, but say something like I appreciate your effort and would you please. Number 5. After giving appreciation, it is not important to wait for a receipt of acknowledgement. Some people are looking for a compliment in return. That is not the purpose of appreciation. If you are receiving appreciation, accept it graciously with thank you. It is easier to deal with honest rejection than insincere appreciation. At least the person knows where he stands. Don't miss out any opportunity to give sincere appreciation. It builds the other person a self-esteem and automatically your own self-esteem goes up. Public appreciation is recognition. Caution. Without a clear benchmark, appreciation may cause resentment. What is difference between appreciation and flattery? The difference is sincerity. One comes from heart, the other from the mouth. One is sincere and other has ulterior motive. Some people find it easier to flatter than to give sincere praise. Don't flatter or get taken in by flatters. It's an old maxim in the schools that flattery the foot of fools. Yet now and then you men of wit will condescend to take a bit. Jonathan Swift. Insincere appreciation is like a mirage in the desert. The closer you get, the most disappointed you become because it is nothing more than an illusion. People put up a front of sincerity as a cover up. Step 11. When you make a mistake, accept it and move on. When I am wrong, make me easy to change, and when I am right, make me easy to live with. This is good philosophy to live by. Some people live and learn while others live and never learn. Mistakes are to be learned from. The greatest mistake a person can make is to repeat it. Don't assign blame and make excuses. Don't dwell on it. When you realize your mistake, it is good idea to accept responsibility for it and apologize. Don't defend it. Why? Acceptance disarms the other person. Step 12. Discuss but don't argue. Arguments can be avoided and a lot of heartache prevented by being a little careful. The best way to win an argument is to avoid it. An argument is one of things you will never win. If you win, you lose. If you lose, you lose. If you win an argument but lose a good job, customer, friend, or a marriage, what kind of victory is it? Pretty empty. Argument result from inflated ego. Arguing is like fighting a losing battle. Even if one wins, the cost may be more than the victory is worth. Emotional battles leaves a residual ill will even if you win. In an argument, both people are trying to have the last word. Argument is nothing more than a battle of egos and result in yelling contest. A bigger fool than the one who knows it all is the one who argues with him. Is it worth it? The more arguments you win, the fewer friends you have. Even if you are right, is it worth arguing? The answer is pretty obvious, a big no. Does that mean one should never bring up a point that contradicts another? One should, but gently and tactfully, by saying something neutral, such as based on my information. If the other person is argumentative, even if you can prove him wrong, is it worth it? I don't think so. Do you make your point a second time? I wouldn't. Why? Because the argument is coming from a closed mind, trying to prove who is right rather than what is right. For example, at a social get together, especially after a few drinks, someone may say authoritatively the current year's export figure are 50 billion. You happen to know that his information is incorrect and the right figure is $45 billion. You read it in the newspaper that morning, or you heard it on the radio on the way to the get together, and you have a bulletin in your car to substantiate it. Do you make your point? Yes, by saying my information is that the export figure is $45 billion. The other person reacts, you don't know what you are talking about. I know exactly what is and it is $50 billion. At this point, you have several choices. Number one, make your point again and start an argument. Number two, run and bring the bulletin from your car and make sure you prove him wrong. Number three, discuss but don't argue. Number four, avoid it. The right choice are number three and four. If one wants to accomplish great things in life, one has to practice maturity. Maturity means not getting entangled in unimportant things by petty arguments. What is difference between an argument and discussion? An argument throws hate, a discussion throws light. One stems from ego and a closed mind, whereas the other comes from an open mind. An argument is an exchange of ignorance, whereas discussion is an exchange of knowledge. An argument is an expression of temper, whereas a discussion is an expression of logic. An argument tries to prove you who is right, whereas a discussion tries to prove what is right. It is not worthwhile to reason with a prejudiced mind. It wants reason into him so you can't reason it out. A narrow mind and a big mouth usually lead to pointless arguments. In order to discuss, let the other person state his side of the case without interpretation. Let him blow steam. Don't try to prove him wrong on every point. Never let him drag you to his level. Treat him with courtesy and respect. That will confuse him. Regardless of the cause, the best way to diffuse the situation is to number one, give a patient hearing. Number two, not fight back or retaliate. That will confuse the other person because he was expecting a fight. Number three, not expect an apology. For some people, apologizing is difficult even if they have made a mistake. Number four, not make issues out of petty matters. Discussion entails not only saying the right thing at the right time, but also leaving unsaid what need not to be said. Children should be taught this art of speaking up but not talking back. As adults, we should learn the art of disagreeing without being disagreeable. The way a person handles an argument reflects his upbringing. I learned a long time ago never to wrestle with a pig. You get dirty and besides the pig likes it. Cyrus Ching. Step to opening a discussion. Number 1. Be open minded. Number 2. Don't be dragged into an argument. Number 3. Don't interrupt. Number 4. Listen to the person's point of view before giving your own. Number 5. Ask question to clarify. That will also set the other person thinking. Number 6. Don't exaggerate. Number 7. Be enthusiastic in convincing, not forcefully. Number 8. Be willing to yield. Number 9. Be flexible on petty things but not on principles. Number 10. Don't make it a prestige issue. Number 11. Give your opponent a graceful way to withdraw without hurting his pride. Rejection can be hurtful. Number 12. Use soft words but hard arguments rather than hard words and soft arguments. It is impossible to defeat an ignorant man in an argument. His strong and bitter words only indicate a weak cause. During a discussion, it may be a good idea to use phrases such as, "It appears to me," "I may be wrong." Another way to diffuse argument is by showing ignorance and asking questions such as, "Why do you feel that way? Can you explain a little? Can you be more specific?" If nothing works, it may be worthwhile to politely, gently, and with courtesy agree to a disagree. Step number 13. Don't gossip. Remember, people who gossip with you will also gossip about you in your absence. Gossiping and lying are closely related. A gossip listens in us and repeats its leisure. A gossip never minds his own business because he has neither a mind nor a business. A gossip is more concerned about what he overhears than what he hears. Gossip is the art of saying nothing in a way that leaves nothing unsaid. Someone said it well. Small people talk about other people. Mediocre people talk about things. Great people talk about ideas. Gossip can lead to slander and defamation of character. People who listen to gossip are as guilty as those who do the gossiping. A gossip usually gets caught in his own mouthtrap. Gossip has no respect for justice. It breaks heart, it ruins lives, it is cunning and malicious. It victimizes the helpless. Gossip is hard to track down because it has no face or name. It tarnishes reputation, topples governments, wrecks marriages, ruins career, makes the innocent cry, causes heartaches and sleeping nights. The next time you indulge in a gossip, ask yourself, is it the truth? Is it kind and gentle? Is it necessary? Am I spreading rumors? Do I say positive things about others? Do I encourage others to spread rumors? Does my conversation begin with "don't tell anyone"? Can I maintain confidentially? Refrain from indulging in gossip. Remember, small talk comes out of big mouths. Step number 14. Turn your promises into commitments. What is the difference between a promise and a commitment? A promise is a statement of intent. A commitment is a promise that is going to be kept no matter what. In the no matter what, I exclude illegal and immoral things. Commitment comes out of character and leads to conviction. Can you imagine what kind of world it would be if people did not keep their commitments? What would happen to relationship between spouses, employers and employees, parents and children, students and teachers, buyers and sellers? Uncommitted relationships are shallow and hollow. They are a matter of convenience and a temporary. Nothing lasting has ever been created without commitment. Commitment says, "I am predictable in the unpredictable future." Many people confuse commitment with confinement. The really is not true. Commitment does not take away freedom. It actually gives more freedom because it provides a sense of security. The most important commitment we ever make is to your values. That is why it is imperative to have good value system. For example, if I committed myself to support a leader who later becomes a drug dealer, do I continue my commitment? Not at all. Commitment leads to enduring relationship through thick and thin. It shows in a person's personality and relationships. Step 15. Be grateful but do not expect gratitude. Gratitude is a beautiful word. Gratitude is a feeling. It improves our personality and builds character. Gratitude develops out of humility. It is feeling of thankfulness towards others. It is conveyed through our attitude towards others and reflects in our behavior. Gratitude does not mean reciprocating good deeds. Gratitude is not give and take. Kindness, understanding, and patience cannot be repaid. What does gratitude teach us? It teaches us the art of cooperation and understanding. Gratitude must be sincere. A simple thank you can be gracious. Many times we forget to be thankful to the people closest to us, such as our spouse, our relatives, our friends. Gratitude would rank among the top qualities that form the character and personality of an individual. With integrity, ego stands in the way of showing gratitude. A gracious attitude changes our outlook in life. With gratitude and humility, right action come naturally. Gratitude ought to be a way of life, something that we cannot give enough of. It can mean a smile or a thank you or a gesture of appreciation. Think of your most precious possessions. What makes them special? In most cases, the gift is less significant than the giver. Seldom are we grateful for the things we already possess. Think back and try to recall the people who had a positive influence on your life. Your parents, teachers, anyone who spent extra time to help you. Perhaps it appears that they just did their job. Not really. They willingly sacrificed their time, effort, money, and many other things for you. They did it out of love and not for your thankfulness. At some point, a person realized the effort that went in to help them shape their future. Perhaps it is not too late to thank them. The story of Christ. As the story goes, Christ healed 10 lepers, and when he turned back, they were all gone except one who had the courtesy to thank him. Christ said, I did not do a thing. What is the moral of the story? Number 1. Human beings are ungrateful. Number 2. A grateful person is the exceptional person. Number 3. Christ literally gave them a new life and said, I did not do a thing. Number 4. Like Christ, we should not expect gratitude. How does this translate in our behavior and personality? We feed or give shelter to someone for a few days and say, look what I did for the other person. We blow our giving out of proportion in our own mind. It is not uncommon to hear people saying, if it wasn't for me, this person wouldn't be on the street. What an ego. By the way, when people ask others to do something for them by using the phrase, by the way, can you do this for me? They undermine the importance of doing or not doing. I have found that if we have to do anything for anyone, it is never by the way, it is always out of the way. This does not amount to be doing favors from the doer's perspective. If one doesn't do things that can be done to help another person, then it is sad. But I am convinced that there is no such thing as by the way, it is always out of the way and it is worth it. Step number 16. Be dependable and practice loyalty. The old adage, an ounce of loyalty is worth more than a pound of cleverness, is universal and eternal. Ability is important, but dependability is crucial. If you have someone with all the ability, but if he is not dependable, do you want him as a part of your team? No, not at all. I knew you would come. There were two childhood buddies who went through school and college and even joined the army together. War broke out and they were fighting in the same unit. One night they were ambushed. Bullets were flying all over. Out of the darkness came a voice. Harry, please come and help me. Harry immediately recognized the voice of his childhood buddy, Bill. He asked the captain if he could go. The captain said, no, I can't let you go. I'm already short handed and I cannot afford to lose one more person. Besides, the way Bill sounds, he is not going to make it. Harry kept quiet. Again the voice came. Harry, please come and help me. Harry sat quietly because the captain had refused earlier. Again and again the voice came. Harry couldn't contain himself any longer and told the captain, Captain, this is my childhood buddy. I have to go and help. The captain reluctantly let him go. Harry crawled through the darkness and dragged Bill back into the trench. They found that Bill was dead. Now the captain got angry and shouted at Harry, didn't I tell you he was not going to make it? He is dead. You could have been killed and I could have become short handed. You made a mistake. Harry replied, Captain, I did the right thing. When I reached Bill, he was still alive, and his last words were, Harry, I knew you would come. Good relationships are hard to find and once developed should be nurtured. We are often told, live your dream, but you cannot live your dream at the expense of others. People who do so are unscrupulous. We need to make personal sacrifice for our family, friends, those we care about and who depend on us. Step number 17. Avoid bearing grudges. Don't be a garbage collector. Have you heard the phrase, I can forgive but I can't forget? When a person refuses to forgive, he is locking doors that someday he might need to open. When we hold grudges and harbor resentments, who are we hurting the most? Ourselves. Jim and Jerry had been childhood friends, but for whatever reasons, the relationship fell apart and they hadn't spoken for 25 years. Jerry was on his deathbed and did not want to enter eternity with a heavy heart. So he called Jim and apologized and said, let's forgive each other and be done for the past. Jim thought it was a good idea and went to visit Jerry at the hospital. They spent a couple of hours together catching up on the last 25 years and patching up their differences. As Jim was leaving, Jerry shouted from behind, Jim, just in case I don't die, remember, this forgiveness doesn't count. Life is too short to hold grudges. It is not worth it. Shame on me. While it is not worth holding grudges, it doesn't make sense to be bitten time and again. It is well said. Cheat me once, shame on you. You cheat me twice, shame on me. John Kennedy once said, forgive the other person but don't forget their name. I'm sure that his message was that one should not get cheated twice. Step number 18. Practice honesty, integrity, and sincerity. Honesty means to be genuine and real versus fake and fictitious. Build a reputation of being trustworthy. If there is one thing that builds any kind of relationship at home, at work, or socially, it is integrity. Not keeping commitments amounts to dishonest behavior. Honesty inspires openness, reliability, and frankness. It shows respect for oneself and others. Honesty is in being, not in appearing to be. Lies maybe have speed, but truth has endurance. Integrity is not found in company brochures or titles but in person's character. Is it worth compromising one's integrity and taking shortcuts to win? A person may win a trophy but knowing the truth can never be a happy person. More important than winning a trophy is being a good human being. A pound of butter. There was a farmer who sold a pound of butter to a baker. One day the baker decided to weigh the butter to see if he was getting a pound and found that he was not. This angered him and he took the farmer to court. The judge asked the farmer how he was measuring the butter. He was selling. The farmer replied, Your Honor, I am primitive. I don't have a proper measure, but I do have a scale. The judge asked, Then how do you weigh the butter? The farmer replied, Your Honor, long before the baker started buying butter from me, I have been buying a pound loaf of bread from him. Every day when the baker brings the bread, I put it on the scale and give him the same weight in the butter. If anyone is to blame, it is the baker. We get back in life what we give to others. Whenever you take an action, ask yourself, am I giving fair value for the wages of money I hope to make? Honestly and dishonestly becomes a habit. Some people practice dishonesty and can lie with a straight face. Others lie so much that they no longer know what the truth is. But whom are they deceiving? Themselves, more than anyone else. Honestly can be put across gently. Some people take pride in being brutally honest. It seems they are getting a bigger kick out of the brutality than the honesty. Choice of words and tact are important. Truth may not always be what you want to hear. One can be truthful without being cruel, but that may not always be the case. The most important responsibility of honest friend is to be truthful. Some people, in order to avoid confronting painful truths, select friends who tell them what they want to hear. They kid themselves, despite the fact that deep down they know they are not being truthful. Honest criticism can be painful. If you have many acquaintances and few friends, it is time to step back and explore the depth of your relationship. A lack of honesty is sometimes labeled as tact, public relations, or politics, but it is really so. The problem with lying is that one has to be remember one's lie. Honesty requires firmness and commitment. How many times have we all been guilty of little white lies, flattery, omitting facts, or giving all truths, telling the greatest lies by remaining silent? Make yourself an honest man, and then you may be sure there is one rascal less in this world. Thomas Carlyle. Credibility. We all know the story of the shepherd boy who cried wolf. The boy decided to have some fun on the expense of the villagers. He shouted, "Help, help! The wolf is here." The villagers heard him and came to his rescue. But when they got there, they saw no wolf, and the boy laughed at them. They went away. The next day, the boy played the same trick, and the same thing happened. Then one day, while the boy was taking care of his sheep, he actually saw a wolf and shouted for help. The people in the village heard him, but this time nobody came to his rescue. They thought it was another trick and did not trust him any more. He lost his sheep to the wolf. The moral of the story is when you tell lies, you lose credibility. Once you have lost credibility, even when you tell the truth, no one believes you. The quality of good character is honesty. Truth can be misrepresented in two ways. Number one, incomplete facts or information. Number two, exaggeration.